Happy New Year. Listen, this is going to be your best year yet. Even if you're listening to this in the future, even if this is like it's 2027 and you're like, Jen Fulwiler is just so rich and famous now. The comedy millions are here. I was just watching a documentary about her mansion, and I was just curious to listen to old episodes. So even if you're not listening to this on January 1st of 2025, just listening to this podcast whenever you hear it is going to make it your best year ever. And here's the key. I've finally figured out the key that is going to make it all come together for all of us. You need to teach your nervous system that you are completely safe. Most of us walk around most of the time and we don't even realize it. And our nervous systems are being hit with all sorts of signals of lack of safety. And then it's going to make anything else you are trying to do more difficult. I love this inspiring content that Instagram is always showing me. I love stuff like this. Like, inject this content into my veins. Like, Katlyn, just play a couple seconds of that clip that we were just talking about. This is from Meg's Tea Room. I love stuff like this. Listen to this.
What if you assumed that it's all going to work out? What if you assumed that nobody is mad at you? What if you assumed that you're not alone?
That would be fun. I shouldn't do that. Listen, the highlights of last year were I got banned from an entire practice. Like, I can't come within 150 feet or whatever of this one a very large medical chain for something I said on this podcast. And I got dropped by my agent and my manager on the same day. So I shouldn't assume that no one's mad at me because there's probably a list, honestly. But you guys need to stop thinking that people are mad at you because you are good people. Okay, you can take that clip down. We'll play the whole thing later. But here's the thing. I think that this is a great practice. I would like to see you guys do that. I would like to see you step into who you are. I would like to see you live without fear. I would like to see you realize that you are amazing. And some of you for whom this is your path, and it's not everyone, but I would like for you to have a voice in the marketplace of ideas. Meaning maybe you sell some kind of jewelry or something and it really gets traction and you have influence in the jewelry space, or you do some kind of public speaking, or God forbid stand-up comedy, or you do acting, start a podcast, something like that. I want more of us to have a voice in the marketplace of ideas, but all of that is going to be very, very difficult if you are constantly sending your nervous system these signals that you are not safe. We've touched on this quite a bit lately. This is a big, big, big topic for me in my personal life right now. So we're going to keep talking about it until I have exhausted the mind-blowing insights that at this point are coming pretty much every day. But this is actually, it's seriously changing my life. In the past 6 weeks, I would say, I have just leveled up in so many different areas. I feel better than I have in years. I just, everything is coming together. I am more optimistic about my career than I have been in years, because I've finally gotten to that place where I really don't care. I've been trying to, they always say it, you have to be in the present moment, and you have to have gratitude for what God has given you right now, and not constantly want the next thing. And all of my life, even since I've been Catholic, it's been nah, no. If God wants to give me better things, then I will be happy. But meanwhile, I'm going to keep hustling and striving. Just in the past 6 weeks with this nervous system relaxing work I've been doing, you guys, I have actually had moments where truly, deeply, to the core of my soul, I'm like, I am okay with everything as it is right now. I am okay with myself. I am okay with the way I look. I'm okay with our finances. I'm okay with the various major dumpster fires that have been playing out in and around my family. I've really had these moments of true peace. And if you have been listening to my podcast for any length of time, you know that's a big change. That is different. And I just want to emphasize, so not only have I had the holidays, which is always stressful for moms, especially for me. You guys know I have issues with the holidays. I have a meltdown on every major holiday. I'm working on that. That is a growth process, but I actually don't know why. We're still working on that one, but I struggle with the holidays. But really, I have had so much ability to be in the present moment and be peaceful. And there are a couple of things that have happened in the past few weeks that I really can't say publicly. I'm not trying to be, Mysterio about this. I actually legally, I can't say anything publicly. But Katlyn, that week before Christmas, I mean, the things that happened over here. Yeah. I mean, it was multiple very big things, like very difficult things. Everyone in my family we're okay now. But it was very significant. It is the kind of thing that 10 and 20 and 30 years from now, each individual instance would be like, that was a really big deal, and that was traumatic, and that was hard. And we had two of them the week before Christmas. Again, everyone is okay now. You know what? I might have talked about some of it on the Patreon live that we did yesterday. This is we are recording this episode on Monday, so we have not done the Patreon live yet, but I'm kind of in the mood to spill. So I might join the Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen, watch the replay of the New Year's Eve party we did, and I might have at least shared some of it. But anyway, the point is, it's really been a lot, and I have had an unusual amount of peace in the center of this storm. And as I look forward in the year with just my career and all of the things that I normally fixate on and obsess about, I am really like, it's okay. Okay, let's not lie. Like, I'll probably be fairly bitter if some of them don't work out, and I'll, be very angry, and I'll sit around and I'll scroll social media and be bitter and jealous of other people who are more successful than I am, who I do not find to have my work ethic and level of talent. But then I'll go back to being in a place of peace and being like, this is God's will for my life, and He doesn't want me to be successful. I'd be too powerful. So I've made so much progress, is what I am saying, and that is going to be the main topic of this episode. As usual, we get to the main topic in the second half of the show. In the first half, we talk about various what's new kind of things. I will tell you my word of the year. I will tell you my saint of the year. Don't forget, I used to be a programmer, and I created a word of the year generator and a saint's name generator. The word of the year generator is wordoftheyear.me. That's the only domain I could get. And then what is Saints Name Generator? Saints Name Generator. Just Google it. Put into Google Saints Name Generator. You'll see it. I put my name in the little title. In both of them, if you view the source, at least on the Saints Name Generator, I put the litany of the saints is actually in the code, and you can see it. And that was me. I did that. Yeah, that's my nerdy little. So I'll tell you what saint I got and all that. And then is this the episode where we're looking at Raising Cade's restocking her salad bar? You guys, every few episodes there has to be a new influencer that I am fixating on, and who, like, I look up their content all the time. And I'm like an anthropologist watching a foreign tribe. I can't believe how these people operate. I can't believe we are the same species. And I want to watch some Raising Cade's footage and just walk you through how my mind would work if I tried to do anything she is doing. Just so that we can all understand that sometimes when you see someone do something and it looks fairly easy for them, it's because it is. It's because they're wired a different way. Okay, this is just set up. I'm getting into the topic here, but listen, this is the podcast where you get more value from the setup than you do in the entire episode of all those lesser podcasts that you're wasting your time on. So let me just say this briefly. There is this really silly idea out there. There's this really silly idea out there that when you see an influencer having a perfect home or dressing perfectly or everything is organized for their kids, that the reason they're doing that and you're not is because they are trying harder than you are. They are more virtuous than you are. When the reality is their brain is just wired differently. That is not that hard for them. For me, that would be like splitting the atom, organizing my kids' backpacks and their shoes and all that. Like, I can't. It would be like deriving pie while drunk. Like, I can't. My brain doesn't work that way. I can't do it. But then there are things that I can do that they can't do.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, like just because I can't think of a single witty banter, witty banter. Can they do witty bits? No. So I'm adding a lot of value to my house as well. But the point is, don't believe that these people they're trying harder or they're more virtuous than you are. Their brains are just wired a different way than you are. Well, there you go. That's the setup. And again, you've already gotten more value in the setup of this podcast than you do in anything else that you're wasting your time on. Welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss or hot boy boss who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all real success. We are coming to you from Austin, Texas, and we publish new episodes every single Wednesday morning. I also have a mission for 2025. I am going to show you all how to step into your villain era. I am fully in my villain era, and it's a lot of fun. And that's going to be a theme of this year. Your life is going to go to the next level because you're going to be in your villain era. Katlyn White is our lovely producer, and the Patreon. We have a lot of fun on the Patreon, and in fact, just yesterday, we did a New Year's Eve party that was live. Now, again, as of this recording, we have not done it. But I think I can confidently say that it was pretty chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
Because my 6 kids are going to be there. Katlyn's 4 young kids are going to be there. I think a couple of the neighbor kids will be in and out. A priest friend is hanging out with us, so he will be there, and he's more fun than take the 5 funnest people you know. This guy's more fun than all of them combined. Father Dan Lorimer, just an incredible person, so he'll be there. Katlyn, are you bringing your dog tomorrow? Maybe we'll see. Okay, maybe. So we'll have dogs running around. And on top of all of this, I am having everyone do vision boards. Oh, yeah. So we will have magazines and scissors and everyone cutting and little pieces of magazines going everywhere and glue. And then, food and drinks and all that alcohol. So if it is not a chaotic mess of an episode, then I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, I can't imagine that it will be anything less than completely chaotic. So the replay will be available. You can get instant access to it right now when you join the Patreon at any level. You can any level Patreon join and you get access. Patreon.com/thisisjen. That is patreon.com/thisisjen. And I always want to remind you guys too, they make it very easy to unsubscribe. If at any point you're like, this is too good. It's like, it's making me hate everyone else I follow because their content is so bad. That's fine. They make it very, very easy to unsubscribe at any point. Okay. Intro topics. Let's begin with my word of the year. Let's do that. What's crazy is, so I do it live on this show, but I just couldn't. I just felt like God was like, I got your word right here, right now. So I just did it the other day. The word I got was malleable. Oh. What's crazy, I was like, man, that's a great word. I was like, great job, whoever created this generator. Genius word to put in there. There are I put hundreds of words in there. What's funny is I had actually just been thinking of that word. And so you guys know that I have been having AI voices, artificial intelligence voices, read my affirmations to me. This is something I'm going to play them on the Village Hustle Patreon. I'm going to actually play some of these affirmations for me. Let's see. It wasn't the episode this week, but that's coming up on the Village Hustle Patreon. But I write what I need to hear, what I need to be reminded of, and I have an AI voice read it back to me. So it's almost like, you have your life coach sitting there telling you everything you need to hear. And what's interesting is one of the phrases that I used for my AI voice to read back to me is malleable, was in there. And that's not a word that you say a lot. Mm-mm. But as part of the nervous system work that I've been doing, I've realized that when we go into control mode, being very controlling, whether it is about your physical environment, telling people in your house, you can't set that throw pillow there, you can't set that cup there, or in my case, I'm not controlling in that way, but I can be controlling about interactions. Until I started doing this Nicole Sachs, the journal speak work, all that in like mid-November, I did not realize how controlling I am about certain like interactions with my family, because my husband and I have very, very different temperaments. He comes from this wild, very, country, people shouting, y'all watch this, and then ending up in the ER, type, just very wild, very free, very country. And my mother is a very reserved person. I was thinking the other day, I don't know if I ever heard my parents raise their voices. I think my mom did once. I think my mom got mad at me once and raised her voice once. But that's the kind of very, think like Downton Abbey, but in the middle class suburbs. That was us. You would know we were the kind of repressed white people that you would know my mom was furious if she set her fork down at dinner a little harder than usual. It would be like, oh, she is on fire. I need to watch out. We have a real problem now. I mean, and of course we never talk about it or express emotion, but you would just know, that fork, I heard the clink on the plate. Now we have a problem. That's the kind of culture that I came from. So it has been a journey in our 20 plus year marriage that sometimes my husband will interact with the kids in a way that I find to be, I'm afraid that it will be grating to them. I'm afraid it's harsh, not mean or anything, but he'll just speak in a very bold, direct way. So I will try to jump in and control that interaction. And it has only been in the past 6 weeks since I started doing this work that I realized that control, you jump into hyper controlling mode when you don't feel safe. And it makes sense when you think about it. Imagine if there were a physical threat, like you're trapped in a room and there are a bunch of snakes in it, poisonous snakes. You wouldn't be like, hey guys, it's really whatever you snakes want to do is cool with me. We can all just kind of chill. Let's just relax. No, you'd go into controlling mode. You'd be like, I need to pull this chair up right here and jump on the chair. And I need to call someone and think about how when your body senses danger, the first thing you do is you get very rigid and you start controlling. And some of my issues, some of my quote unquote trauma, which we have discussed, it does not mean that I had a difficult childhood. It doesn't mean I had bad parents. It means I did not have the mechanisms for processing day-to-day stress. So that gets stored in your body as trauma, even if you had an okay childhood. So we all, especially those of us who did not grow up in a village environment, which is how people normally process trauma, we have stored up trauma. So anyway, when that trauma comes up, and I do find that I get very stressed about people's interactions for various reasons with my wiring and my past and all that, I go into control mode. Being hyper controlling is a trauma response. And it makes everything more difficult. Yet, it has been such a journey of discovery that this is very hard to do. But when I see my husband interacting with the kids and I feel like he's not explaining himself well and they're going to think that he's mad at them, and I know he's not mad at them, but what if this harms their relationship with their father, and then my girls are Instagram models because they have daddy issues because he didn't explain himself, these are the things that go through my head. And I'm like, what if they end up in stand-up comedy? Because they have like, these are the things that go through my head. And so I always have tried to jump in and control those interactions. I cannot tell you how hard it has been for me to shut my mouth and let these interactions in my family just play out. And you know what's crazy? Everyone's going to be very shocked to hear this. All right, will you be shocked to hear it? It is actually better when I remove myself from the situation. What? I know. Caitlin's like, what? Then there's what? Are you serious? It's the dangest thing, guys. When I shut my mouth and I let my husband and my children just interact with each other as they want to do, I actually see many advantages. Like, wow, okay, my kids are learning a different style of communication, and it's actually helpful to no one when I bring my funds fired up nervous system, jacked up nervous system presence into the conversation. Think about it. Like, nobody wants to hang out with someone who is currently in the same physiological state as if they are trapped in a room with poisonous snakes. No, like, that doesn't sound fun to hang out with that person. But that is me. When other people try to interact in front of me, it triggers my issues, and I want to jump in and control in my funds fired up nervous system state, and it makes everyone miserable. So, malleable. You guys thought I forgot where I was going. I did not. Malleable. So in these affirmations that the AI voice reads to me, one of the things before I even chose my word of the year was that it's an affirmation that's something like, you know, I breeze through my days with trust and with gratitude, and I am malleable in all situations. Meaning, Katlyn, can you Google define malleable and read me the definition? And it's like, basically, you know, like you're a blob, you know, it's like you're Play-Doh, you know, Play-Doh is malleable. A rock is not malleable. And previously I've been a whole lump of coal. I've been a sharp chunk of granite, and I'm trying to be Play-Doh. Caitlin's like, she's busy looking up for it. Yes.
Is this the right one? Malleable.
Wait,
right?
does it seem like? Oh, yeah, I did find a weird definition. Is this not the definition?
No, it is. For? It's just
okay. I don't know.
Able to be hammered or pressed permanently out of shape without breaking or cracking.
Yeah, able to be hammered. I mean, that's.
I mean, yeah.
I am able to be hammered. That's pretty great. Able to be hammered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, check. And what is it? And able to. That's so funny that they use the word hammered.
Yeah.
Okay. What able to be hammered and what?
Or pressed permanently out of shape without breaking or cracking.
Oh, I disagree with that because it's not permanent. You know, like Play-Doh is not. Like, it's not permanently. That's not okay. That's a horrible definition. I really disagree with that. I guess
the secondary one is easily influenced or pliable.
Well, that's stupid too, because it's not easily. Okay. Well, never mind. This word means what I say it means. We're just creating new definitions on the podcast. Play-Doh is malleable. Mm-hmm. Chunks of granite are not. I'm trying to be Play-Doh. And I have been granite, if that's okay. The analogies are getting. But, okay, by the way, Katlyn, is it crazy that I have AI voices, like, speak stuff to me that I need to hear? Is that, like, totally insane?
Oh, no, I just wrote that in my notes to do it myself.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, okay, so listen, guys, here's what you need to do. You need to, so the art list is what I've been using. Obviously, this is not sponsored because, like, what do we do on this podcast? We leave money on the table. You pay a monthly subscription fee. I think you can subscribe at any time. I don't know. But Katlyn, I paid for it, so you can use mine if you want. So you can share it with your friends, guys. Ooh, yes. So yeah, I'm just doing AI read affirmations. But and I can't. I'll. Well, on the Village Hustle Patreon, I'll play it. It is kind of private. It's the things that I need to hear to keep myself sane are not for public consumption. But the point is that it is helping me like to a shocking degree. You guys really need to do this. You choose your voice. It has all these different voices to choose from. You can choose British, American, Australian, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah,
which is like I mean, you like throw some shrimp on the barbie, and it's so similar to British. I mean, why not do French? But you can only choose from American, British, Australian, or Indian. We have a lot of Indian friends, and they're all really successful. So maybe I should have the Indian voice, like tell me what's going on. But the point is, it's been truly transformative. I really can't recommend it strongly enough. Just write what you need to hear, whether it's like affirmation scripture voices or scripture passages that you want read back to you. Today, when I was out running errands, I have a few of them now. I airdrop it to my phone. It's in my files. I was out running errands and I just hit play. It was incredible. It was just this British voice that's like, you are safe. Everything is going to be fine. You can let go of control. Just be malleable. It's insane. I can't tell you how helpful this is. So go to Artlist and it's like whatever it costs, guys. What would you pay to feel calm and like in the present moment and have all the affirmations you need to hear? Like just get it, guys. Just do it. Okay. So anyway, malleable was a word that I had already put in my AI read affirmations. So it's crazy that of the hundreds of words in this word of the year generator, that is the word that I got. And I find it interesting that when we are out of trauma response mode, when we are out of funds, when our nervous system is relaxed and knows that we are safe and is not acting like we're in a room full of snakes, then we are malleable. Imagine like, in God's hands. It's like God is trying to mold you in a certain way and in a certain direction, but you're sitting there being granite because you have funds. And that's a bad example because Michelangelo carved some great stuff out of granite, but whatever, like you're something bad, you're like a crispy potato chip. I don't know, but you're not helping God. I'm just saying. How is this podcast for you? Okay, whatever. Just be malleable. Okay, that's my word of the year. Go get your word of the year. My saint of the year is Saint Walter of Portois. Portois. I don't know. I mean, the French, like half of the letters are going to be silent. But what's funny is his feast day is the birthday of my youngest child, which is a significant day for me because that was a rough day. So that is a very, all of my children's birthdays are significant, but that one is particularly significant. And what's funny is that he is the patron saint of career-related stress. So I'm telling you, listen, Saint Walter and I, this is over. Like it's over. Like we have my career is going to the next level, or I'm going to flame out in a really dramatic and fun way. But I'm not going to be stressed about it. That's 2025. I'm done being stressed about my job. Like I so don't care anymore. I said in the last episode, I'm burning it down. So it is eerie how perfect that saint was. There aren't a ton of saints. In fact, I can't even think of any others who are patrons of career-related stress. So that's wild. Now, Katlyn, she has not chosen her word of the year.
I have not.
And her saint. Would you like to choose right now?
Let's do it.
All right. We have the websites up.
Alrighty then.
Heal.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh, I'm sorry. I said her word first.
No,
I'm sorry.
Good.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great word.
Yeah.
And, and it can mean a lot of different things. It can mean heal physically. It can mean heal mentally, it can, from past issues or whatever. Do you like that word?
Yeah, I do actually. I feel like that's very becoming of what this year is going to be.
Yeah. Because, there's been a lot going on. It's always tough being a single mother. Like I love that. Love that. Okay. And then let's see who your saint is. This time I'll let you say it. So everyone,
you might want to say that one.
Yeah. Saint Bernard of Menthon. What is Menthon? Okay. So all right, what are his patronages?
Alpinists, mountain
That sounds funny. Alpinists.
There you go. That's why I don't read things.
No, I think that's from Alpinists is probably right. Actually, let's go with that. Maybe you're going to be an alpinist this year. Oh, the St. Bernard dogs are named after this guy.
Okay,
he's the one who, hey, he was an alpinist, and he had, his dogs would have like a keg of liquor around their necks.
Oh, that's perfect for me. We're great.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay.
Climbing.
Yeah.
Mountaineers, skiers, travelers in the mountains.
Oh, so maybe you're going to meet a...
Sounds like I'm going to Switzerland.
Yeah, right. Go to Switzerland. Maybe you'll meet a mountain man. That's amazing. Good. Okay, so we did well. I think we did well.
I just assumed it had to be something weird.
Well, everybody learned some new words today. Malleable, alpinist. On that note, going to crack open my drink here. Okay, let's see. Man, shoot. Okay. All right. Listen, I want to say too, as we head into the new year, we're all thinking about new habits. We're all thinking about just ways that we can improve ourselves and things that we can do. And so I just want to say that you guys should try to be more like me, because my atomic habits are just rock solid. Like, personally, I never begin any day without practicing gratitude for the downfall of my enemies. And I always make time to pray on their downfalls. And that's that's an important part of my day. But okay, here's the point that I was actually leading up to with that, which is you will hear about other people's habits. You will hear about other people are getting things done, how other people are getting things done, the type of people they are, as you think about what you want from yourself in life in 2025. And it is so important. It is so important. Okay, well, now I've lost the ability to speak. It's so critical that you really start to get to know who you are and what your strengths and weaknesses are, and whether these habits and atomic habits and systems that everyone else is doing and their achievements are something that is going to be easy for you or is going to be hard to you. So this brings us into, you guys know I'm completely obsessed with Raising Cades on Instagram. She is Raising Cades, CADES 10. She has 9 children. So just winning at life. They homeschool. She's a homeschooling mom of 9 children. She's my new ballerina farm. This woman, I stalk her account all the time. Like, I actually search for her account and pull it up to make sure that I didn't miss any content. She is the one who has a salad bar that is, it's refrigerated, so she can keep the salad bar out, and her 9 children can serve themselves from the salad bar. Listen, let me tell you, when the comedy millions come in, out of modesty, I might not say anything. I might still live in our 3-bedroom, 1,900 square foot house, with all 8 of us and the dog and everything. Like, I might just, I might not flaunt my wealth, but there will be signs. There will be signs, because I'll just be like, oh, Katlyn, did you see the new refrigerated massive salad bar that we got? And yes, my house is only 1,900 square feet. So it's in the middle of the living room. We don't have a couch anymore, but I'm really enjoying the salad bar. Okay. So she did her home salad bar restock. And she said she was going to do it. You guys don't understand. This is like a new season of your favorite Netflix show dropping. I was stalking her account. I was constantly checking to see if the salad bar restock had dropped, because I've got to know. So for those of you listening on audio, she narrates it, so you can use your imagination. But listen, just pull this up on YouTube. Here's what you do, okay? You go to jfonyoutube.com or pull up the app and just search for my name. And then this is episode 236. If you type into YouTube your search, Jen Fulwiler 236, this episode will come up. You can also see my jacket that I'm wearing, my coat from Sane, $12. It is, it's, I would describe this coat as Genghis Khan chic. I think that's, I don't know. Shein had it on sale. I don't know what we're doing. I mean, it just seemed like a good thing. I'm very hot, by the way. But yeah, so you can see my Genghis Khan jacket. But you should, we're going to show the actual video here on YouTube so that you can really, you should really watch this video. It is this content. I mean, again, inject this content into my veins. Okay. And so I'm going to narrate how my brain would approach this. So Katlyn, get ready to pause it as we go through the Raising Cade's Mother of 9 Homeschooling Mom Salad Bar Restock.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the precipice. And what I mean by that is, we have reached the time of the year where no one knows what day it is, what tomorrow is, or even what time it is. Okay, so let's stock my salad bar, shall we? Okay, let's.
And then there's where the relatability ends. I also don't know what day it is or what time it is. And now is where our brains diverge. All right, go ahead.
Go. Hey there, beautiful people. Y'all know I love my air fryer. So I cut up some sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts and peppers and onions and put them in there to cook. Then I threw some bacon on the...
Yeah, pause it. Yeah. I meant, no, I didn't mean that as a general, okay. So, all right. Well, already she's losing me because who are her children that she can chop up vegetables, including peppers, and put them in the air fryer, and her children eat them? I feed your children a fair amount. I don't think they'd like the peppers and I will say this. I admit the one area where I get an F in parenting, and I admit it, I'm not the number one mom. I get the participation trophy, is getting kids to eat a lot of healthy foods. I don't know what I did wrong. I tried. I did try. I tried serving healthy things, but my kids have the ability to not eat anything healthy my kids have the ability to just not eat anything at all. They're like bears in hibernation. They could go like a month and not eat anything, and they'll just wait. They'll wait till the one day that we have flaming hot Cheetos in the house, and then they'll eat the whole bag. Yeah. And because people are like, well, you know what you need to do is just don't offer them other alternatives. You don't understand. They don't need food, and then I feel weird not feeding them at all. And then the other thing is, people who say, I would never feed my kids unhealthful food. I wouldn't offer them an alternative. What they're forgetting is bedtime. You need your kids to go to bed for your own sanity. And if you have little kids who won't eat the poached chicken with herbs and roasted peppers that you made, and then they are hungry and they won't sleep, and then it starts getting like something out of the movie The Shining, because your kids won't sleep and you're losing your mind. It's like, yeah, you just open the bag of Cheetos and you're done with it. That's where it fell off for me. That's why my kids don't eat healthy, because I needed to sleep. I needed them to go to bed. That is why. If I need to interview this woman. Mm-hmm. How did she get... Even, I'm sure maybe not all of her 9 kids eat the roasted peppers, but if even 2 of them do, how did she do it?
I have no idea.
Okay. So now look at this. She's talking about just throwing stuff on the grill. Play this part.
Griddle, seasoned up some chicken thighs with some garlic and Parmesan and salt and pepper. Once that was done, I decided I'd throw some salmon on the grill as well.
Okay, stop. Listen, there's no throwing anything anywhere when I cook. I've never just throw some. No, it's this whole torturous mental process. So first of all, she didn't talk about unboxing with opening the packages of chicken. There is something with my bizarre little brain here. We've talked about this before. Opening packages is mental torture for me. Katlyn has seen me snap a couple of times in green rooms because after I perform, I like to have gum because, like, you know, my mouth is just kind of dry. I've been on stage. So I like to have gum. And I will be trying to open a package of gum and I snap. I just lose it. Like I throw the gum down and I'm like, Katlyn, help me. And it gets really bad when you're not there, Katlyn. And so I realize this is a very insane thing about me, but just like getting the meat out of the packages, all those AI affirmations, I'm like, don't lose it. Don't flip out. Don't just get the meat out. And then it's wet and then it's cold and it's like my hands are sensitive to cold. So getting that. And so just she skipped like 40 steps in my mind. We're just throwing chicken on the grill. Well, you had to get it out of the package and then there's the weird, the pieces of the meat. I don't even want to go into the details, but like, then it kind of reminds you like, oh, this was actually an animal. Like maybe I'm going to join PETA. This is not, this is gross. And then throw it on the grill. Okay. How do you know how hot the grill needs to be? Nobody knows. How do you know what to season it with? Because you'll look up a recipe and you go to some website and it's someone telling their life story. Because you Google easy chicken seasoning spices, spice mix. And you pull up some website. And after you click the 7 pop-up ads that come up, it's like, so I was born in the Midwest under a full moon. And it's like, where I just want the spice recipe. And we're scrolling, more pop-ups come up. And then you don't know if it tastes good. And so, how do you know what spices to put out? How do you know how much to put on it? If you guys think that I am kidding, I want to tell you that I am underplaying this. I am underselling what goes on in my mind when I try to, quote, throw some chicken on the grill. This is, it is the mental cycles that I go through. It's like, seriously, I could do 5 pages of calculus and it would not max out my brain like this. And then she's quote unquote throwing some salmon on the grill. But do you take the skin off or not? She's not taking the skin off. How do you know? Whether or not to take off the skin? You don't know. And this is all very high stakes because if you do it wrong, then your family won't eat it. And then you've wasted meat and you're back to being like, I should join PETA, because maybe I'm vegan because it's one thing to eat meat. It is a whole other thing to waste meat because I'm incompetent. Like this was an animal and this animal died. And and now I messed it up and we're just throwing this meat away. This is like 1/10 of what actually goes on in my mind when I try to cook, and I am not kidding in any way. Okay, so let's go. So now we're throwing the salmon on the grill. Like that's just a thing that you can do. Okay, go ahead.
2, 3. That'll be enough salmon to hold my family up. Once those chicken thighs were done, I went ahead and chopped those up. Then I seasoned that salmon with some Italian seasoning. Salt and pepper, nothing special.
Wait. Who said you can put Italian seasoning on salmon?
I didn't know you could. I don't eat salmon anyways, but...
How do you know? And then her family is going to eat salmon. One of my kids eat salmon, actually. No, two of my kids eat salmon. But I didn't know you could put those seasonings on. And again, you don't want to waste meat. So I can't experiment. I can't just try. Again, how do you know how hot to get the grill? How do you know how long to put it on there? And I just don't know how to tell the temperature on a grill. Is there a thermometer? Okay, go ahead, Katlyn.
Chicken thighs in the house so they could cool off. Didn't want to put any hot meat in my salad bar. Speaking of hot meat, college dude was willing to burn his mouth just to get a salmon. Took me a little nappy nap. Totally kidding. Ain't nobody got time for that. Within a few minutes, my salmon was pretty much done. Ooh, I wish I had smell-o-vision.
Wait. So she had a lid on over the salmon on the grill. Well, how do you know? How do you know you're supposed to cover it? And why do you cover it? I wouldn't cover it. And then it would be like, well, it's too dry and now no one's going to eat it. And we're back to PETA should show up at my house and burn it down because I'm wasting animal products here. Or if I cover it, then it's too moist. It's like a moist salmon and nobody wants moist salmon. I don't know. This is, you guys, it's just, life is very hard for me. Okay, go ahead. Next.
Hey, somebody go ahead and invent that. Anyway, child, I decided I wanted to put a Parmesan crust on my salmon this go round. I pulled out my handy dandy cheese grater and pretended I was a waitress at Olive Garden. Say when? Anyway, child, once that was done, pulled that salmon off, took it in the house to cool as well. Have I ever told you that salmon is one of my favorite proteins to go on my salad? No? Well, now you know. Anyway, child, so now it was time to put the rest of the goodies in my salad bar.
So she has an entire rolling cart. It's a 3-level rolling cart, just stacked with goodness. She's got her salmon that she just grilled that has a Parmesan crust on it. I just want to note, she did that spontaneously.
Yeah.
She spontaneously, effortlessly was like, I'll just do a Parmesan.
Pulled it out of her pocket.
Do you know? Yeah. It was in her pocket. Do you know the level of research and mental torture I would have to go through to figure out like how to put a Parmesan crust on the salmon that I was grilling? Because see, if I hear crust, I think I should flip it over on the grill because that would get it crusty. But then I would just have a Parmesan crusted grill and not salmon. And then I'd be yelling and everyone would be mad. And people are like, why does mom always get mad? You know, and then it's like a whole thing that's spreading to my family. How do you know not to turn the salmon upside? I would turn the salmon upside down. And then what if you don't cook it enough and everyone gets food poisoning? I think about that all the time with meat. That's like a big, that happened one time in my family. It was like a family dinner. Everybody got food poisoning because someone didn't, cook the meat enough. So that lives in my head. Okay. So she's got the 3-tiered cart, that she's pulling over to the salad bar. Again, this is it is a refrigerated salad bar. So when her family is done serving themselves, all she has to do is close the lid and everything is still in there and it can keep. Okay, go ahead.
With me? Okay, good. So I added some sugar snap peas to my romaine lettuce because sometimes I like to hear, Mom, I don't like that. Cheese, tomatoes, rainbow carrots, peppers, boiled eggs, you know, the regulars. Remember those vegetables we roasted in the air fryer? Well, there they are. And there's our chicken and our salmon once they've cooled. I often get questions about how long food lasts in my salad bar. And that really depends. This I expect to last for 2 to 3 days. And then I'll restock it all again.
How long?
And yes, the top is refrigerated. So is the bottom. Speaking of it.
How long do you think we would let that salad bar go? I mean, it would be, that salad bar would growl at you when you walk by. It would be evolving into new life forms if it were in my house. Okay, listen, when the Comedy Millions come in, I'll have the salad bar and it'll work well for the first 3 days. And then I will get busy and distracted and overwhelmed. And I'll think like, well, I should throw some chicken on the grill for the new salad bar, but then I'll get really stressed out. And the other thing is, like, when you look at recipe sites, then I'm into this whole story about, like, really, your family grew up on a farm in the Midwest. And before I know it, I'm reading Wikipedia entries about the history of farming in the Midwest. I'm like, I believe it was the Czechs who settled that region. And meanwhile, everything is rotting in the salad bar and it is not refreshed. So there's another issue with the Fulwiler family salad bar. Okay, go ahead.
The bottom. Down here, I've got some salad dressings and toppings. I've got some hummus and some guacamole. I've got olives and pickled onion. I've got kiwi and berries, all washed and ready to eat. I've got some cottage cheese singles. If I'm lucky, the kids will think it's yogurt and eat it with some fruit. I've got some marinated cucumbers and tomatoes, and I lost the top to that mason jar, mind your business. And if the kids are looking to make a sandwich, then whoop, there it is. I've got lots of Sunny Delight. I don't even know why it's in there. That stuff will never get cold. Behind my chilled plates, I've got some Capri Suns and enough prepped and washed fruits and vegetables for these kids to eat, or at least graze on until the ball drops on New Year's Eve.
That would happen at the Fulwiler salad bar is, so she mentioned in there she had Sunny Delight and bread. That is what my children would eat. Like, period, end of sentence. Like that, she has this whole massive salad bar full of stuff. We would eat the bread and the Sunny Delight, and that is it. There would not be anything else. All right, I think there's just a couple more seconds. Anything else, Katlyn? Play it till the end here.
Because as I said, this part of the year is like the Twilight Zone. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. But it's tomorrow. I don't know. All I know is I might need a bigger bowl. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.
So, I mean, what we're learning is this is her slacking. Oh. This is her, like, we're in the Twilight Zone. We don't know what time of year it is. So this is, see, when I'm in that zone, where we're in that Christmas to New Year's dead zone, it's a lot of like me not getting out of bed. It's a lot of scrolling TikTok. It is not me throwing salmon on the grill and spontaneously deciding to add a crust to it. And I don't think she ever says her name. If she does, let's call her Mrs. Raisin Cades, because well, can you pull up her Instagram, Katlyn? Just tell me if we know her first name. I'll call her Mrs. Raisin Cades until then. She's like Ballerina Farm in the sense that we like her. We like her, guys. The listeners of this podcast, we like her. Again, like Ballerina Farm, like In Honor of Design. What the Farah Murhi, I think, is another one. What do we have her name?
Melanie.
Melanie, that's right. Okay, Melanie. So Melanie from Raising Cades, another one. We like them. Look, they're just better than us. They're better than us in the sense that their brains are wired for this sort of thing, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them. I want to be very clear. I am not saying that Melanie from Raising Cades or Operation Nikki is another one, or Ballerina Farm, any of these people. I'm not saying that they don't try hard. I think they do. And I am sure, I'm positive that they feel inertia and it is difficult for them to get up and do these things that they do. I do believe that they are trying hard. But here's the thing. Me trying my level best, me giving it 10 out of 10 effort, I would be institutionalized and probably drag some of my children down with me if I tried to do that. The name of the game as a parent, actually, no, the name of the game as a human being, it actually, in this case, it doesn't matter if you have kids or not. The name of the game is to figure out the ways that when you try hard, your efforts are multiplied. Like it works. This is good. This is blessing your family. And then do that. So that's for In Honor of Design, Ballerina Farm, Raising Cades, Operation Nikki. They do so much of this homemaking, decorating, organizing, cooking, things like that. And because their brains are wired that direction, yes, it's hard for them. But that hard work is multiplied and it's good. They are doing the thing that they are supposed to be doing. You know, like Patrick Mahomes playing football. Like, yeah, he works very, 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 very hard. But he is meant to do that. It's like if I go try to play football, like it's, it doesn't matter how hard I work. My efforts are not going to be multiplied and I'll just be like dead, and after 2 days of practice. So that's what you're trying to do. And I would say I am especially thinking of moms because we have so much guilt about what other moms are doing. We have so much guilt about that. And I promise you, there is a way in which when you work hard, it will seem like your efforts are being multiplied. So with my neurodivergent brain, like many people who are, let's face it, on the spectrum, the more I do those little online tests, the more I'm like, how did it take us this long? One of the things that people with this kind of brain love are systems. So for example, with me, I am messy. My brain just I could never be a neat freak, not if my life depended on it. Obviously, as we've heard, cooking is a whole disastrous. Of course I cook. I am the cook in our family, but, and it's fine. Like my food tastes good and everything, but it is very mentally hard for me. Whereas, one thing I am good at that I put a lot of work into is systems. So having a way to get everything on our family calendar for the week, or how the kids do laundry, or how I've told you before that for chores, we do a zones system. So each kid has ownership over a certain part of the house, and this does not rotate. That is their permanent zone, that sort of thing. I'm actually very good at that. So I'm organized in a certain way, like not keeping the paper clips in the right drawer, but when you need a pen and a paper clip and paper, I will have them generally in the right part of the house that you will be able to kind of know where they are when you need them. So that is an example of it could seem that someone with my brain needs to just go away somewhere because it's never going to work. But I promise you, there are ways that you can add value to society and to your family that will be challenging for you. Yes, of course, you have to get off your rear end and do it. And that's hard. And it's easier to lie in bed and scroll TikTok, blah, blah, blah. But that when you do it, you're like, yeah, that was really good. Like for a while, our kitchen table, it was just cramped and it wasn't working. So I got us a bigger kitchen table. I oriented it in a different way, even though it was kind of awkward and still is in the kitchen. And I set up different things on the table that they weren't neat, they weren't tidy, they weren't aesthetic, but it was a good system. It was a very like free-flowing kind of high-functioning system for the kids getting their snacks, like the healthy snacks that everyone ignored and then the unhealthy ones that everyone ate. So that is an example of something that, if I were an influencer, someone could look at me. If I went through all of my household systems, they might be like, wow, Jen's more virtuous than I am. Jen's more virtuous. Jen is just a better mom who tries harder. No, my brain is just wired for systems. It's just the way that I am. It is not wired for making things aesthetic. It is not wired for making sure there are no crumbs on the counter and no shoes and everything on the floor. Like it's not wired for that. So in the areas that our brains are not wired for, you still have to do those things. Again, I cook dinner every night. My husband he's not that much of a cook. So I'm the one who cooks dinner. So yes, I do it. I'm not saying that just because I end up having a screaming meltdown about how one would quote unquote throw salmon on the grill. I do find other ways to do meals, like the meal I made tonight. In fact, Katlyn and her kids are here and everyone liked it. So I'm not saying that we don't put any effort into the areas of the house where our brain just doesn't work like that. But I am saying that we don't feel bad if some of these influencers are just crushing it on a level that makes us feel like an utter failure, because I guarantee you there are plenty of ways that you are adding value that it would be very dispiriting and discouraging to them if they saw what you are able to do. And I promise it's there. You're like, no, Jen, no, I promise you have something. All right. And this, as always, this podcast is a tapestry. It's a tapestry. This blends perfectly into the main topic that once again, we're getting to a little late because this podcast it's an overflowing abundance of goodness. But let me tell you briefly that the episode 71 of the Village Hustle Patreon just came out on Monday, and I show my actual vision board, the real vision board that I personally used from 2024. And it was actually kind of crazy how much some of the stuff that was on my vision board actually, like something very similar, like eerily specifically similar, ended up coming into my life. And I talked about why I think that is and how these things work and how I did my vision board and all that. Again, when you join the Patreon, it's really easy to unsubscribe if you just want to check it out. Patreon.com/thisisjen. That is patreon.com/thisisjen. Okay, so what I was just talking about with not comparing yourselves to people who are probably just wired differently than you are is part of the umbrella topic that is going to be a big theme in 2025 for me and for this podcast of assuring your nervous system that you are safe. Because any other kind of positivity and affirmations and just and even praying, even trying to connect with God, it's all going to be easier when your nervous system is not in a state of funds. I should have said earlier, I made up that term for new listeners. That this is it's generally called TMS, is what a lot of people call it. I call it funds, fired up nervous system. And I've been doing a deep dive on it ever since I've gotten addicted to Nicole Sachs' podcast, The Cure for Chronic Pain. You can listen to previous episodes to hear more about that. But Katlyn, now let's listen to the whole thing of that video of the woman talking about all the positive stuff you can think. I agree with this all. I think that this is all a great idea and we should be fostering this kind of thinking, but well, I'll make the point I have to make about it afterwards. Meg, what is it? Meg's Tea House? Is that
Tea Room?
Tea Room. Meg's Tea Room on Instagram. This is great. I love this idea. Let's hear what she has to say.
What if you assumed that it's all going to work out? What if you assumed that nobody is mad at you? What if you assumed that you're not alone? What if you assumed that there are good people in the world that would love to know you? What if you assumed that you are lovable, that you're worth loving? What if you assumed that you do, in fact, have time and that it's not too late? What if you assumed that your hard work is already paying off, even though you haven't seen results yet? What if you assumed that your voice matters and that speaking up could transform someone's entire day? What if you assumed your mistakes are lessons, they're not failures? What if you assumed your gut is right? What if you assumed your presence is a gift and not an imposition? What if you assumed you weren't too much? And what if you assumed that your worth isn't tied to anyone or anything? What if you assumed that life, in all of its mess and chaos, is worth living, and you giving up now would mean missing the most beautiful parts that you've yet to experience? What would that do? What would that change? What if?
See, I think that's great. I think that we should all work under these kind of assumptions. And again, this is really more for you guys than for me, based on the, how the past few months went for me. I probably shouldn't assume it's all going to work out. Definitely can't assume that no one's mad at me. Their lawyers are very clear that they are mad at me. So maybe just the lawyer is mad at me. But you guys, no one's mad at you. So I mean, really all my life, I have tried to put this kind of thing into practice. All my life, I've tried to put this kind of thing into practice. And it is very difficult to do when your nervous system thinks that you are in a room full of snakes. It is very difficult to do when your nervous system is freaking out because it does not think that you are safe. And so, and I know that sometimes that can be a difficult concept for people to connect with because they think, well, Jen, I know I'm safe. I live in the suburbs. Like, it's not like I'm growing up in Compton. I mean, it's fine. Like, we're fine. I live in the suburbs. My spouse is fine. My kids are fine. Like, I wouldn't feel unsafe. But this, as usual, an hour in, we're getting to the meat of the podcast. What sends your nervous system signals of lack of safety a lot of times is things that are not on the surface. Like, yes, of course, if you live in a bad neighborhood and you physically feel fear for your safety every time you step out of the house, that is a problem. But probably most people listening to this podcast are not in that place. But they are constantly beating themselves up for not being good enough. Or for my type of wiring, I have such a driven personality. I am goal-oriented to a fault, to a big fault. And so in my case, I can get so fixated on my goals, whether it's something in the house that I'm trying to do, like cleaning out a closet, or a career thing like getting revenge on everyone who has wronged me, just simple stuff like that. I can get so fixated on it that I didn't realize it until recently, but I am sending my nervous system signals that we are unsafe because I haven't achieved that thing that I want to achieve. And I thought of it as like, well, I'm just driven. I'm just goal oriented. It is the way I am. And it's good to keep that part of my personality. Just like, again, if you're self-reflective, if you're willing to improve, if you're always trying to grow, that's a good thing. But it becomes toxic and it becomes something that is really firing up your nervous system if it is more a voice of shame and condemnation and like, oh, there you go again, screwing it up. Oh, look at this influencer. You don't even have a salad bar. You did not throw salmon on the grill today. You are a failure. Everyone hates you. You might be surprised at how many of those messages are actually going on a deeper level in your mind. Because when I would say, well, I'm just goal oriented, on the surface, I was saying, okay, I have this goal and I would like to make this amount more money in the future. And then if that didn't happen on the surface, because I know how to appear sane, I have a lot of practice with it, I would say, aw, shucks, darn it, got dropped by my team, and that kind of set back the tour, which impacted my income. And shucks, I didn't meet that one goal. Well, through Nicole Sachs' journal speak process, I have realized that what was going on a lower level was this voice that is like, you're a failure. You will be abandoned. Nobody will ever love you. Like crazy stuff that, as I've said in other episodes, I don't believe that. I really do not. But there is some thought fragment within me, some immature voice. I don't know whether it's, some people call it your inner child. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's just some irrational emotions that feel like a toddler throwing a temper tantrum. And I think that it's just years of mild self-condemnation building up. Because I have never had a method for which to release those little moments of self-condemnation and of fear of things like that, it builds up to this tsunami of negativity that hits my subconscious. Again, this is all under the surface. I'm not consciously realizing this, but it hits me whenever, I look at a goal like, oh, I didn't hit that goal last year. The tsunami just starts of this, again, the inner toddler throwing the temper tantrum of like, you are a failure. Everyone thinks you're a failure, blah, blah, blah. And not just the people who specifically said you're a failure, like in writing on and then said it on their podcast. I did not realize how much all of that was in there and sending my nervous system signals of lack of safety. Another thing that can kind of build up is just like rushing through your day, feeling overwhelmed by everything. And this is why people talk about the importance of gratitude. I was joking earlier when I was like, I start each day with gratitude for the failures of my enemies and take a little time to pray on their downfalls. I was kidding, but the point I was leading up to was one of the reasons that gratitude is so important is because it tells your nervous system that you're okay right now, that you're safe right now. Nicole Sachs, whose podcast is like if you ever wonder what I'm doing at any given moment, I'm either like in bed scrolling TikTok, listening to Nicole Sachs podcast, like at least for this week between Christmas and New Year's, like that's a very safe bet. So she says, Nicole Sachs says, desire to be different than we are signals lack of security, lack of safety to the nervous system. That is a banger of a quote, right? Desire to be different than we are signals lack of safety to the nervous system. As usual, just unbelievable hot fire towards the end of this podcast. Like only 4 people are hearing this. Such a shame. But that's such a key point because I think you don't even realize if you pull up Ballerina Farm, Raising Cade's, Operation Nikki, one of these accounts, and you're negatively comparing yourself and you don't even totally realize you're doing it, but you're just watching her do her salad bar. And in the back of your mind, you're like, I suck. Like my house will never look like that. Like, wow, her kids they're really happy. Are my kids that happy? I don't know if my kids are that happy. This is all happening subconsciously, but it is, as Nicole Sachs would say, it is a desire to be different than you are. It's comparing apples to oranges and deciding that your oranges, for the way your brain is wired, are just like nobody even wants oranges when they could have apples, which is the way this person's brain is wired. And when you're doing that and you're just subconsciously thinking all of this, negativity, like I'm no good. Like, wow, that's terrible. And not actualizing the fact that, look, you're good at things too, that this person is not good at. Like, their brain is just wired differently than yours. You are sending signals of lack of safety to your nervous system. And again, like, try to imagine this positive. Play a couple seconds to remind us of the positive thinking, gal.
What if you assumed that it's all going to work out? What if you assumed that nobody is mad at you? What if you assumed that you're not alone? What if you assumed that there are good people in the world that would love to know you?
Saying this to you when you're trapped in that room full of snakes.
That you are lovable. That you're worth loving.
Okay,
what if you assumed that you...
Like, imagine her saying that to you when you're trapped in the room full of snakes. It's like, I mean, if you're trapped in that room and there are these, king cobras slithering around in front of you and you're like standing on a chair trying to figure out how to get out of there. Imagine that I call you and I'm like, hey, I'd like to, just read you this passage from the Bible. It's such a great affirmation about how God always looks out for us. And I just think that you should really just really see yourself in a positive light and just be more positive about who you are. Would you listen to anything I'm saying when you're trying to get away from the king cobras? No. Even if you tried, even if I was like, hey, right now, I'd love for you to be hopeful about the future. Well, you can't, because your nervous system is racked with funds. It's fired up. It's jacked up because you are freaked out by all these snakes. And in your day-to-day life, the snakes, quote unquote, are you comparing yourself to people who are wired totally different than you. The snakes are you wishing that you were a different person than you are. The snakes are you looking in the mirror and hating your body and stuffing those feelings down. I should say that. It's one thing if you actualize it and release it and let that emotion move through, but like stuffing it down. Because like, good people, good modern women do not think negative thoughts. So I'm just going to pretend that I didn't think anything negative when I saw myself in the mirror. Okay, just going about my day. And then you watch Raising Cade's restock her salad bar. Oh, nope, I'm not jealous because we're all workers in the vineyard and we're all just doing different things. And that is fine. Everything's totally fine. And, and then you see someone else who's maybe they have more money than you do. And you're like, nope, I am not jealous at all. I'm just, that when you do that, you're suppressing those emotions. They're jacking up your nervous system. And so anything you try to do to be more positive, to be more prayerful, to be more connected in the people you like in your life, it's hard to do that when you're carrying around this ball and chain of a jacked up nervous system. So this is why just having practices of things like true, deep gratitude, of really working to be where you are today and be okay with where you are today, even if your life is a dumpster fire, like mine was the week before Christmas, really, truly, deeply, not in a suppressing way, but letting all of the negative emotions come out. Yes, I hear you. Okay. Inner toddler, we're doing the journal speak. Yep, I hear you. Yes, there are lots of fears. Okay. Letting that come out. And then authentically, genuinely finding peace with where you are, starting to notice what is good about your life right now. That kind of thing is so transformative, as I am finding, because it tells your body on a physical level that you are safe. And let me tell you, from personal experience these past 6 weeks, when your body on a physiological level starts to really think that you are safe, your power is like 10x. At anything you are trying to do in your life, you'll be able to do it with like 10x power. Everything becomes simpler. Everything becomes easier. And it all starts with telling your nervous system that you are safe. As usual, I can't end this podcast without telling you the best way to do that is the journal speak method. Nicole Sachs talks about it. Just Google how to do journal speak. I've talked about it in previous episodes. That's start with that. But then again, also finding ways to be peaceful and happy and joyful and just silly and playful right here, right now. It will totally change your life. All right. That is it. Another smashing episode of this fine podcast with my Genghis Khan coat here, jfonyoutube.com. To watch this podcast on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will be back with you next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.